So good morning. This is January 29, 2015, and this is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 8 into week number 4. Now let's continue with the theme of this week's very important information literacy and competency. Now last time we have given you a brief preview into what is meant by the discovery process in information literacy. Okay, so today, before I give the time to Anna, she's going to share with us her point of views on the studies in the previous week. Let's come back to information literacy first. Okay, do you still remember what is meant by discover in the context of information literacy? Basically, it's a very interesting actions-oriented process. D is for define, I is for inquiry, S is for search, C is for collect, and then O is for organize, and then V is for verify, E is for what? Express, and R is for reflections. Okay, so basically, it's a very important process where you have to do something in every part of your information literacy project. And what is meant by information literacy project? Well, in the context of the internet era, information is something we cannot escape from whenever we want to see something more, whenever we want to discover something more. So the enemy in today's world of internet era is information overload. Okay? So in the context of information overload, we need to be equipped with some basic competency called information competency to deal with the situation so as to discover what we want. So today, after helping you to remember the discover process in the context of information literacy, we want to step you into a broader formal ideas of what is meant by information literacy. So let's get started with this very interesting but very important introductions.
Most people hear the phrase information literacy. It focuses on literacy and assumes it has to do with being able to read and write. In actuality, information literacy, sometimes called information fluency, focuses on an individual's relationship with the information available to them in their daily life. Information is abundant and in more formats than most people can utilize. And at some point, we all suffer from information overload. Information literacy is critical in allowing individuals to skillfully and knowledgeably take advantage of this new environment in their personal, academic, and professional lives. In this tutorial, the basic concepts of information literacy will be explored, especially as they pertain to students in higher education. The term information literacy was coined in 1974 by Paul Zurkowski, who noted that those who were information literate were able to mold information sources in order to find the solutions to problems. 15 years later, a definition was created that is still in use by many educators and academic organizations today. The ALA's Presidential Committee on Information Literacy distinguished those qualities that make one information literate, stating that a person must be able to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. Information literacy applies to everyone, both inside and outside academia. It is about learning the skills to understand and navigate this new information world encountered on a daily basis. If one can utilize these skills and effectively use information, they have fulfilled the primary goal of becoming lifelong learners. Those who have learned how to learn, who can always find the information needed for any task or decision at hand. Although it applies to everyone, information literacy will vary according to the individual. An undergrad will use very different skills from someone already in a career, or those skills used in one's personal life. We will look briefly at information literacy as it pertains to higher education. In 2000, the Association of College and Research Libraries developed a set of 5 standards, performance indicators, and outcomes to define the information literate student. These standards touch upon 5 major components of information literacy: need, access, evaluation, use, and ethics. The first standard focuses on determining the need for information and recognizing what types and how much information are required. This includes being able to define the need, such as in a thesis statement. It's knowing what resources are available for the particular subject and choosing those that will be the most effective. This standard discusses recognizing the feasibility of conducting certain research while also coordinating a realistic timeline. The student should be willing to reevaluate and clarify their information needs throughout this process. The second standard focuses on accessing information. It may seem that students would be adept at this because of the abundance of information and easy-to-use search tools. However, this standard is really about getting the best information and not necessarily the most or fastest. Students must be aware of the research methods used in the particular subject field. They need to apply effective search strategies within appropriate tools to then access this information. Although there are always exceptions, it is important for them to try to use a variety of methods and systems instead of relying on a single research tool like Google, and they must be willing to refine their search strategies as needed. Finally, it is crucial that once found, students can manage these resources, being able to extract and organize the pertinent material so that it can be easily accessed while working on their final product. The third standard focuses on two types of evaluation. First, students need to evaluate sources to make sure they are legitimate and authoritative, especially in an environment where creating and distributing information can be done by practically anyone. It's also critical that students recognize bias, prejudice, deception, and manipulation within sources. Second, students need to evaluate the information within their source. This requires them to be able to understand the material, extract the main ideas, and know what parts would be best utilized in the final product. They should be able to take this information and synthesize it into their new ideas and concepts that can then be compared to prior knowledge, allowing them to test their ideas and theories. It is also important for students to investigate different viewpoints. They need to be willing to discuss their findings and research with other individuals and practitioners. Finally, based on the information gathered, students need to evaluate their strategies to determine if modifications will be required to get better or more applicable resources. Standard 4 is about using this newly evaluated information to create a product such as a research paper. In general, this standard focuses on being able to cohesively and adeptly incorporate and utilize the new and prior information and effectively present it in a way that is understandable and clearly supports the main thesis. Finally, according to Standard 5, students need to be aware of the ethics of information. This does not mean students simply need to cite their sources to avoid plagiarism, although this is an important point. Students need to be aware of topics that can affect their research in daily life, such as privacy and security, copyright, intellectual freedom, fair use, censorship, and the freedom of speech. They must understand and follow the laws and regulations surrounding information. They then need to acknowledge information sources using appropriate documentation style and citing accurately and as needed. These standards may seem overwhelming to incorporate into a single course. However, the development of an information literate student takes place over their entire academic career and will continue long after. It is up to the instructor to decide what standards apply and should be taught within their course. Eventually, all the standards will come together. The information literate student is not the creation of any single individual. He or she has been molded by a wide variety of people, including professors and librarians. Please consult the Rice Library Information Literacy LibGuide. This guide will provide you with the full list of ACRL standards, performance indicators, and outcomes, with corresponding sample activities. It also provides additional links and resources to make understanding and incorporating IELTS skills easier. Please ask the reference librarians at Rice Library about what you can do to make information literacy a more prevalent part of your classes.
Thank you very much. We're going to stop the video first because it's going to continue afterwards. So now, may I ask you the very simple question? Do you have any slightest clue as to what exactly is meant by information literacy after reviewing on this very important video, and also after my reminder of what is meant by the discovery process in the context of information literacy? Or you may put the question this way: have you ever learned the context of information literacy in other classes of your university studies so far? I guess this should be your second semester, as teachers from other courses introduced you to this important IEL concept. Well, let me tell you this. We assume that if we give an assignment to students, a lot of teachers assume that you just have to go do something on finding the necessary information and put it in your assignment in the context of somewhat like a research paper. In many courses, we seldom introduce information literacy properly to give students the very important concept concept of information literacy. And indeed, as explained by this lady in the video, information literacy is more like an art of perfecting your problem-solving skill through identifying the information that is needed. And it can hardly be perfected in one single semester. It's something that you have to come back to iteratively practicing in almost every course of your college educations and even after that. So one of the 5 important elements that you need to remember in the context of information literacy. First, you know that you have a need for informations. Second, when you can identify the need to access a particular information, you need to go find the information, and that is the access part. Need access. And once you access some type of information, what are you going to do with it? You do not know whether or not it fits into your purpose, and you need to do some kind of thinking evaluations of it. So evaluate is very important. And once you've done your evaluation and consider that these are something very, very important, you come to use the information and put it in the context of your writing. In the specific case of your assignment to be submitted this week, you started out the process by writing a journal, including some relevant references, putting some citations there, and then you forward the same piece of information to your learning partner, and let your learning partner comment on that, and then this will help you to remember what is important. And once you believe you've done all the necessary groundwork, you proceed to write your report, and that is the important part of using the informations. But with writing the report, if you have actually used the information, you discover you need to give credit to the sources, and that's the very important last stage. Need, access, evaluate, use, and ethics means giving credit to the sources. So suppose now you have already understood something very important about information literacy. Now let us try to see how, in what particular context we normally use information literacy in our daily living, particularly as a college student. And that's the reason why we need to bring you the very important context of date number 8, starting your research assignment. Now let's go for it. Okay. All right, so let me kick it off.
Hey there. Welcome to the Mercy College Library's Information Literacy Module Series. In this module, you will learn the basics about acquiring the information literacy skills needed to deal with the research papers and assignments that will be a big part of your academic career here at Mercy, regardless of your major. First off, what is this information literacy business? Glad you asked. Information literacy is the ability to recognize, locate, use, and attribute valid and credible information sources, including books, journals, magazine and newspaper articles, and an ever-growing variety of multimedia sources. In this module, you will learn the importance of understanding your assignment, choosing a topic that fits the assignment, narrowing or expanding your topic, creating a topic sentence, and determining what kind and how much information you will need. Research assignments can vary depending upon your class and your professor. But let's say you've been assigned a 4 to 6 page research paper requiring 2 outside sources using either the APA or MLA citation styles. What does that mean? Well, it's like this. A research paper or project usually means you need to construct an argument or take a position, make a case for your chosen topic. To support your argument, you'll need to find and use outside sources of information. An outside source is any information that is not included in your course text or class readings. When searching for information to support your argument, it is very important that you select what we call authoritative sources, sources that have credibility and validity. This is where things can get tricky, because there is so much information available to you these days, especially on the internet. It's becoming more and more difficult to determine not only what is credible and what is bogus, but even where to start. Not knowing where to go or what to do can become very frustrating very fast, leading to that dreaded modern malady known as information overload and you don't want to go there. Let your librarians help you. But before going any further into this, it's very important you understand the assignment and what your professor expects of you. If you are uncertain or unclear on any part of what's expected here, including how much time you have, get with your prof before pushing on, okay? All right, so I've got this 4 to 6 page paper to deal with. Where do you even start with this beast? A couple of points to consider when getting started. Always try to choose a topic that interests you. Whenever possible, choose a topic that is related to your major. For the purposes of this example, let's say you have chosen the topic of bullying for your paper.
What are you looking at, butthead?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That guy. Okay, we've got to start. We've also got a big and broad topic. What to do? First, let's break it down. Brainstorm ideas on the topic. Throw some ideas down. Don't worry about whether they're good, bad, right, wrong, useful or not, completely ridiculous. Just throw down some thoughts that come to you when you think of bullying. Maybe bullying in the internet. Read about that a lot. Maybe bullying in social media, Facebook, etc. Wait, there's a word for that, isn't there? Yeah, cyberbullying. Okay, making progress. Maybe something on cyberbullying and social media. Sweet, now what? Remember that in a research paper, you are creating an argument, staking out and defending a position on your topic. So what's next? Try taking your idea and putting it into a single topic sentence. For ideas to help you, Google or other search engines can be a great source. Search engines, as we'll talk about more in subsequent modules, have limited use as sources for academic writing like this, but they're a great source of ideas and a good place to start. For example, let's take a quick look around Google for cyberbullying and social media. Well, looky here. Seems cyberbullying and social media has caused suicides. That's some serious stuff. What's being done about this? What can be done? What should be done? Wait, do you feel the topic sentence coming on here? Maybe something like, what steps are being taken to prevent cyberbullying in social media? Dang, we're good. Okay, here's what we've got covered so far. You understand your research assignment, what's expected of you, and how much time you have to do it. You've kicked around some ideas and boiled it all down to a topic, sentence, or question from which you'll develop an argument that will be your paper. You need to go and get 2 credible sources you will use to support your argument. In our next module, you'll learn about the open and closed web and how to use library resources to get the best sources for your paper. Oh, and those citation styles your professor is requiring? Don't worry about that just yet. We'll get to that too. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next installment.
Okay, now let me put it into perspective for you. This is the very last week, the 4th week of your semester. It's also the last week for your learning contract number 1. And the theme of learning contract number 1 is inquiry-based. inquiry-based learning, IBL, and the essential elements of inquiry-based learning is basically put into practice using the OIA process. But before the OIA process to be practiced in a smooth manner, you need to bring in the element what this professor just said. Actually, you have 6 items to submit. First of all is the online journal. And how we're going to do the online journal is based on your effort to choose one topic, or better say one specific question out of the many questions distributed in the 4 reading lists in the first 4 weeks. So if you select your topic from the first week reading list, or if you select a topic from the second week reading list, or third or fourth, okay, it very much depends on your interest. So here I can see what's your interest by looking into which topic from which reading list have you chosen. And the second question is, when you have chosen a specific reading topic, okay, so let's say, let's go to week number 4. The reading list for week number 4 is this. What is information literacy? What is information competency? So does it mean that I must answer the question, what is information literacy, or what is information competency? Now that is something I need to remind you. In designing this course to enable you to understand a topic of interest that you're going to learn from this course, I have given you the most basic questions, which is key on the word what, okay? And in order to help to understand these questions, I provide you a number of sources here. Well, these are the beginning of the story to explore. For example, if I chose what is information literacy, my job is to make sure I will select one source here and use the specific guidance skill, OIA. I'm going to take notes of that particular source. Now that is my journal. But when you move on your journal to the specific discussions with your learning partner, and after that, when you move on to write a report based on that topic, what are you supposed to do? It is not a mechanical process. It's not a rigid process. The implication is, once you select, say, what is information literacy, do you find enough of the information to come up with the questions of interest that is based on this topic? Just like what the professor said in the video, what is the topic sentence? Will you come up with a topic sentence or questions of your own under this particular topic? And then you pursue to do some research to answer their questions. And you present your work to your learning partner for comments. And at the end of that, when you discover that I have enough of the information to answer that, that is the time when you write a report with a specific topic of yours. Now, many students will misunderstand, and I will not say no. Just copy that questions as the topic of your report. And that is a legitimate question, but that means you have not made the best use of the freedom that is very much your own to come up with a deeper or much more tailorable topic of your own. So do not look down on this assignment. It's basically an assignment where you have a lot of freedom to do something of your own. Okay? A lot of students will say that, oh, that is a very boring topic. Could I do something much more caliber to my interest? I say, yes, it's your freedom to do it. So as long as your report is written based on the questions or topic of interest under the umbrella context of one of these questions, go ahead. Because that is the beginning of your research assignment. Do you remember that? Okay? So the report, and then when you come to write your blog, it's again another expressions of your interest on a specific topic or topic sentence that's under one of these questions. You see what I mean? But as a teacher, well, if you know that at the end of your study, that someone has already done the basic research for you by giving you the sources of many items, and so you can use them directly, but it does not mean you have to be rigid enough not to add something more. Now that is very important. All right? So I hope you understand my my interpretations for you, because you have 6 items to do, and these 6 items that you have to submit by the end of this week are actually linked together based upon the initiative to come up with a specific interesting questions or topic sentence of your own. Okay? So let's try to see that. Now that I know what I want, how do I find what I need? Okay, suppose you've already come up with a specific topic of your own based on the academic concept. What are you going to do?
Hello, and welcome to the Mercy College Library's Information Literacy Module Series. In this module, you will learn the difference between search engines and databases, how to develop a search strategy for your research paper or project, how to access databases using the library website, and how to use database tools to refine and focus your search. Ready? Let's get started. Search engines are open web-based search tools such as Google, Yahoo, or Bing that help you locate information available on the World Wide Web. You're probably very familiar with those. Databases use the internet to search for information too, but use a restricted part of the web to store information that is off limits to search engines like Google. This portion of the web is sometimes referred to as the closed or dark web. Where search engines troll the free and open web where anyone can post anything, databases search a much more controlled environment of information that has been checked for validity and reliability, what we call authoritative sources. The authority of the sources you use to support your research paper or project is crucial. If you think of your project or paper as building a house, your sources are its foundation. If your foundation is strong, the house is solid. If your foundation is weak, your house may collapse. Before we jump in on databases, let's do a bit more preparation. Another difference between databases and search engines is how you communicate with them. Where Google can gobble up whole sentences of natural language queries, databases relate better to what we call keywords, the essential terms in what you're searching for. When first dealing with databases, this is maybe the most challenging difference from a search engine like Google. But here's the upside. As you get a handle on databases, you will find that using keywords is one of the tools you can use to give you much more relevant and focused results. Think about it. When was the last time a Google search returned less than a gazillion results? Our natural language Google search on cyberbullying, for example, returned 539,000 results. Yeah, that's right. The fast track to information overload and, well, let's just say you got to get up real early to go through that many results. Let's look at our topic question. What steps are being taken to prevent cyberbullying in social media? All right, let's break this down. Good. Now let's take these keywords and plug them into a database to see what happens. Let's start with a reference database. If your professor says, "No Wikipedia," for your research project, not to worry. Your library's got you covered. So let's take a look at Credo Reference, a good reference database accessible from the library website, which you can reach from the Mercy College homepage, mercy.edu, then mouse over Academics, scroll down to Libraries, and that will take you to the library homepage. Then scroll down to the research column there in the center. Select Find Articles by Subject. This is a listing that's going to give you all of the databases by subject or your major. It helps you find which databases have strengths in a particular field. It also, off to the left, lists our most popular, our heavy hitters, which includes Credo Reference, the big reference database. So, let's take a look to see how our keywords may fare in a database like this. So, we click on Advanced Search, which is going to give us a few more options, and we put in cyberbullying up top, because that's our main keyword. Then in an exact phrase, we can enter 2 words or more. And you see there's social media, but also there's social media or social networking, which is actually something that might give us a few more options on the return. So let's go with that, see what happens. Click search, and not an overwhelming number of results, but we did get 9. And as you see there, we have cyberbullying, we have cyber internet offenses, cyber stalking. That looks interesting. And then scrolling back up here, off to the left, just to point out briefly, you'll see how the database tries to focus these articles into a way that makes them easier for you to determine what you want. Let's click on cyberbullying just to see what it gives us there, and you see it gives us a little sort of introduction to the article. If that looks interesting, you can click on the link to give you the complete text. Over on the right side, right here, you'll see a number of little tools that are with every article. It will give you an email option, a PDF option, a save option, a share option. Down at the bottom, these are the citation styles that you can choose. You see you have an option of APA, MLA. So Credo will also fix you up that way as well. Credo Reference has given us a good start. Now let's check out one more database for a wider range of information sources. All right, now let's look at another database, a general purpose database, again accessible through the Mercy College homepage, mouse over academics, down to libraries. Then in the center column there, look for the second link, find articles by subject. Then the general listing off to the top left there. You see where we chose Credo last time. Now we're going to look at ProQuest All Collections. This is a database, actually it's 16 databases in one, and can be a nice one-stop shop for your article search. As you see, we have our keywords laid out there and ready to go. We have cyberbullying up top. We have social media or social networking as we used before. This time we have them placed within quotation marks, which will tell the database only bring back those words exactly as they appear within the quotations. I'm going to click on the full text, which will give us just that, and I'm going to leave everything else off. Click search, let's see what happens. Well, 2,420 results, more than the 9 that Credo gave us, but less than the 569,000 that Google gave us. Also, you'll note over here on the right that ProQuest will bring back a number of different types of articles. And you see there the magazines, there are 118 magazines. I think I want to go there. I want to see what we have on these keywords in magazines that ProQuest found for us. So just scrolling down, looking for titles that may be interesting. And you see the keywords are highlighted there. Look at number 6, how to stop the bullies. Yes. Click on the title. It will bring you to the abstract page. The abstract is a summary of the article, which can be helpful. If that looks promising, then you can kind of scan the article there. You see there's the full text, and you can see where the highlighted keywords show up. If you prefer the PDF version, which will look more like a photocopy of the original, that's also available. And you see it has email, print, and the handy cite option. Click on that, and yes, ProQuest will cite that article in the style of choice. There's APA, there's MLA, whatever you want, you just tell it, it does it. You can also email yourself the article, which also offers you the opportunity to include at the bottom the citation in any particular style that you want. So, ProQuest will do this with every article. It's a very useful, very user-friendly database, and along with Credo, may be all you need for your project. If you find you need more help, check the supplementary sources available in Blackboard, or ask a Mercy College librarian for help. Okay, here's what we've covered in this module. We've learned about the basic differences between search engines and databases. We developed keywords from our topic question to focus our database search. We accessed and searched 2 databases through the library website to locate valid, authoritative outside sources for your research project. And we learned that additional information is available through the module companion site, available through your Blackboard course or asking a Mercy College librarian. In our next module, we'll learn about how to credit your outside sources and how to avoid plagiarism, which is a big dark hole you definitely don't want to fall into.
So here we go. Suppose you've already got your topic identified and you've done some good work to write your journal, okay, which include some observations, interpretation in terms of questions, and then applications, lessons to be learned from that. And then remember, in the journal requirement, you are supposed to provide at least 3 other reference sources to support your finding. And what it's being done here in this video is to ask you, check out what you're going to get from your library. At the University of Macau, we have a very good library, and in the library, we have excellent online resources, including the databases mentioned by the professors in the video. We have programs with other, so make the best use of those databases using keyword research, what you believe are important, and then make the best use of the features provided by the electronic databases, such as the citations in the APM format, which is required in our writing. And then you must be able to capture a number of very interesting references based on your identifying the keyword or your topic sentences or your questions. Now that is your inquiry-based learning. And then, what else can you do? Have you ever gone into the library's website to check out what we have? Okay? Have you ever checked out the ProQuest database available from our library? Now, these are very important. And besides that, have you actually used Google, Yahoo, Bing, or DocPy to find relevant information to support your research? Now, it's very important that you go through a process like this to experience what is meant by doing information literacy, okay? To experience what is meant by going through the discovery process of information literacy to encompass your homework. The learning artifacts you can produce to demonstrate that you have experience in information literacy work and you have accomplished what is expected in the first learning contract, which is based on the theme of inquiry-based learning. How do you inquire about something? Okay, starting with your idea, what you want to see more based on the given week by week topic list. Okay, so then it's a very important process. Now let's go for the third module, which is very important. Now that you have started your research assignment to research on what topic you're going to write in your report and also what you're supposed to supplement in your blog. And you know that you got some information through the databases from your college, but also from the World Wide Web through such search engines. And now what are you going to do? Giving a shout out to the sources, make sure you give credit to the sources, and according to the information literacy in a nutshell video, that it's need, access, evaluate, use, and ethics. Ethics is attribute or discovery to the sources. So let's go for this.
Hello, and welcome to the Mercy College Library's Information Literacy Module Series. In this module, you will learn about plagiarism, what it is and how to avoid it, citations and bibliography, using and crediting outside sources in your own text, and the ALA and MLA citation styles. Ready? Let's get started. What is plagiarism? Well, simply put, plagiarism is taking someone else's work and trying to pass it off as your own. Now back in the day, the lines were more obvious. You took something that wasn't yours, it was stealing.
You realize what would happen if I hand in my homework in your handwriting? I'll get kicked out of school.
But in today's mashup culture, where sampling and sharing are commonplace, the lines have become much more blurred. In academic writing, though, using someone else's work without credit is still a no-no. A big no-no. A great, big, honking, ugly no-no. Plagiarism can get you busted in a number of ways, and none of them are good. Failing your paper, failing the class, put on academic probation, even expulsion from the college. In short, something to be avoided. As a rule of thumb to stay safe, anything in your paper or project that had any help or support from an outside source, credit the source. Let's take a look at the most common instances of crediting outside sources in your research paper or project that you're likely to come across. For this, let's call upon the fine folks at Purdue University's Online Writing Lab, or OWL. See how I just credited a source there? Okay, let's look at in-text citations, paraphrasing, summary, and quotations. A word on these acronyms and citation styles, APA, MLA. What do those mean? Well, APA and MLA are two of the most popular citation styles you'll be working with. APA is the style of the American Psychological Association and is used primarily in the sciences. MLA is the style of the Modern Language Association and is used primarily in the arts and humanities. As your academic careers progress and you get further into your majors, you may encounter other more specialized styles, but APA and MLA are the two most common. So let's take a quick look at how the OWL site can help you sort of cut through some of this confusion of how to format certain in-text citations. If you're working in the APA style, as you see, just select APA and then scroll down here and you'll see that the OWL site not only tells you, but it shows you exactly how to lay out your short quotations, your long quotations, your summary or paraphrase. The nice thing about it is that you can just make yours look like this and you'll be fine. Working in MLA instead, not a problem. Just switch over to MLA style, then go to the Formatting and Style Guide, and then to MLA in-text citations, and it will show you the same information, but it will give it to you in the MLA style. So again, very, very helpful site. But wait, there's more. In addition to all this citation stuff in the body of your paper or project, there is also the bibliography page that lists alphabetically the complete citations for all of the sources you used in your paper or project. So again, the OWL site is one that can help you through this part of the process. If you're using MLA, the MLA bibliography is called a works cited page, and OWL has an entire works cited page worked up here for you, and it includes books, magazines, newspapers, journal articles, just about anything. DVDs are in there. Anything you can think of is going to be there, and it's all formatted correctly, of course. So it's called works cited, and if you're using MLA, just go and make your page look like this. If it's APA you're doing, well, click over to the APA style, and the APA bibliography is called a reference page. As you can see, citing your sources correctly involves a lot of detail and can be more than a bit frustrating. After our quick review, I'll point you to some additional sources of information to help. But first, let's review what we've covered in this module. We learned about plagiarism, what it is and how to avoid it. We learned about the different styles of citations crediting your sources in the body of your research paper or project. We learned what APA and MLA mean and what subjects these styles generally apply to. We learned about your bibliography page that lists all of your sources alphabetically at the end of your paper or project. Whew, that was a lot. Here are some additional sources that can help you with your citations and citation style. In addition to Purdue's OWL site, there are a number of style guide templates available on the open web. One being EasyBib, which is very popular and embedded in a number of databases, including Credo and ProQuest. Do keep in mind that if you use MLA, it's free. If you use APA, you gotta pay. So that is something to keep in mind, for which we recommend the Son of Citation Machine, which is free for both APA and MLA. So you see, you just select the style you want, APA for example, and then what is it you're citing? A book, a web page, a journal perhaps? Select that. Type in the information from the citation, and then Son of Citation Machine will set the style for you. Also in MLA as well. If you'd rather just talk to an actual human being, come on down to the library at any time and talk to a Mercy reference librarian. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next installment.
Okay, here is very important point here. Let me remind you, the university has already given you a lot of resources. First of all, the issues on plagiarisms. Now let me point you out that we are required to post these very important messages from the university's handling student academic dishonesty rules, which is directly taken out from the handbook. Okay, the University of Macau emphasized a lot on the academic honesty of students. So plagiarism is definitely not accepted. That means you just take someone else's work and copy it and submit it as your work without giving them credit. It's considered as an act of plagiarism. Okay, so the second thing you need to understand is just like the Purdue online writing lab here, which give you a lot of resources to help you to smooth out your writing. At the University of Macau, we do have the English language writing center, okay, which provides services to students in case you need help in reading a piece of writing such as a report before you submit it. Go to the ELC and ask for help. Definitely, the Purdue OWL, which you can access it very conveniently, it's an excellent source for you to check on what you're writing. Okay, so as a university student, when you put something into the written form, it's important you go through the process to check what you can improve on it, particularly your grammar, the sentence structure, the vocabulary, the styles, and the most important thing is provided and reminded by professors in the video there, it's you need to make sure the citation is correct, the citation styles are the APA format, and the references are put in the proper expected format, and that's the reasons why you need help from those center. Okay, now you're supposed to finish submitting your homework by the end of the week. Allow me to remind you one more time, examples of the work you need to submit has already been given you through the public online discussion forum in this week. You can see that given you examples, like the journals, previous students' work, how to prepare discussions, the report, the blog, the proposal, and the meeting minutes. Make use of these samples to do work which is no less than that, okay? So it's very important, and with the help of the previous students, you can check on the work, and they did very good work indeed. Now, allow me to invite Anna to come here to share with us the topic that you have provided for us. You can use my computer in case you want it. At the end of your presentation or sharing, I'm going to make up a couple of points so that those of you who are about to do the sharing will be ready. Okay? So, Anna, it's your time.
Hello everyone. Last week we have learned something about ethics and social responsibility in the information age. As for that, I have some thinking with the increasing development of the technology, we become in information age. And since the computer was invented in 1946, and after 50 years, the internet was invented, the human beings maybe will like be crazy about the information. And as you can see in this model, we can see a lot of words, and it's just like big databases. As for the ethics, I think as an individual, we have to respect others' privacy as well as yourselves. For example, I suggest you not to upload your picture easily. And if you want to show a picture like a ceremony or just yesterday we hold a high table dinner, just like show that before you show that pictures, you have to ask others whether they allow you to upload your picture, because suppose you want the others, if you see others upload your picture, well, you'll be unhappy. So respect others and respect yourself. And secondly, I think there something about CSR as a company. They have to. It's their duty to be responsible for the citizens because they must do something for citizens. For instance, we all use Wi-Fi and we use mobile phone. The mobile phone service providers such as CTN, they have to protect our information. Otherwise, we may be confused that sometimes there will be a phone to you and ask you to buy a house or others. And thirdly, I want to say something to government. For example, as the American government, I think it's just like thief. Do you know a man called Snowden? Yeah. And the American has a plan to steal the information of the global citizens. I think this kind of action is a big, it's offending our privacy, and we have to suggest the stance or protection our privacy. Last but not least, I want to say, in order to have a beauty of the earth in the future, please protect yourself and respect others. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for sharing us with your thoughts on learning the specific topics on the previous week. Okay, now may I remind those of you who have already done the sharing and those who are about to do the sharing, you need to be prepared to keep a record of your in-class sharing, okay? Because towards the end of the semester, you need to produce the record showing us on which particular day, such as today is day number 8 or Sammy's day number 7. You refer to the day numbers 8 day and the day of the calendar, which is 2015 January the 29th. Okay, this is the second item. The third, you provide brief descriptions of what you share. Okay, very brief, and in one paragraph, And after that, you provide a YouTube video link, which is available from the website because I produce it for you. And under the YouTube video link, you have to say from which minute to which minute is your sharing, okay? Because you have to check that. So that is a record. And also it's important, now, I did not require you to produce a PowerPoint beforehand, but I expect that you can produce a PowerPoint, very simple PowerPoint after your sharing, as a record of your sharing. And the PowerPoint just provides a couple of slides putting forward the thoughts you mentioned during your sharing as an help to other students who would like to read your form. And sometime, and not sometime, and it's also important that, now suppose you did your sharing on week number 4, okay? Today it's day number 8. And in week number 4, we do have the public online discussion forum here. At the end of the week, please produce a simple posting there, which is a record of what I just said. Okay? Day number 8, 2015, January the 29th, and then my descriptions of sharing, okay? And then a simple PowerPoint, and then the video link from which minute to what minute. Because once you did it, by the end of the week, towards the end of the semester, you just need to go back to the public discussion forum to recapture the detail, okay? Because each one of such record is going to give you 2 semester points, okay? Remember that. After the sharing, you have to have the record. Now, do not expect the teacher to do this for you, because sometimes I'm very busy with other things. It's your responsibility to a record of in-class sharing. And in order to earn the full points for the in-class sharing, you need 10 such records throughout the semester. Okay, that means you have to do 10 such sharing in class. Okay, so remember to do that. Towards the end of this week, in the public online discussion forum, produce a posting called My Sharing This Week, and in the My Sharing, produce what I say day number 8, January the 29th, 2015. My sharing brief, simple paragraph, and then a PowerPoint, a couple of slides including your sharing ideas, and then the video link, which minute to what minute. And if you have already used a lot of very interesting internet resources, put the list of internet resources in your posting, such as a YouTube video, such as the slide share, such as some photos. That will become very useful material for your fellow student to review your topic of interest. Okay? So can you do that? It's very important that you keep records of this. Okay, I think that's it for today. Let me take attendance, and then after that I'm going to give you a couple of reminders of what's coming up next week. Okay? Okay, Angel is here. Jency, she's not here today. Horace, thank you. Andy, thank you. And then Anna, thank you. Annie, thank you. Billy, yes. And then Giles, thank you. Timmy, thank you. Wysant, yes, thank you. Sammy is here. Nancy is here. And then Sophie, thank you. And then, yes, Sophie's here. Edward, thank you. Thank you very much. Only Jency is not here today. All right, now, that is the end of the first learning contract. That means this week is the end of the first learning contract. I strongly recommend that you come back to review the online activities here on the link. There you can see that in the first learning contract, you're going to touch something on online journals and also online discussion forums, okay? Starting next week, you're going to have one more activity. It's called the Collaborations Wiki, okay? That is a very interesting way to collaborate with your learning partner. And of course, stepping after the first learning contract, you will be introduced to the learning portfolio, all right? So read some of the things here. For example, if you come to learning journals, we have specific guidelines on what to do in the context of OIA, okay? And then in the context of reference and naming, and in the context of online discussion forum, which you have to do in this contract is based on the OIA produced by your fellow students. And then you have to respond to the O, the I, and A according to some of the guidelines here, okay? So do the best, because it's something you need to develop in order to help you with the basics of inquiry-based learning, which is also very important to help develop the critical thinking habits in each one of you, okay? So remember this, and also, if you come here, you understand that there's some rubrics, okay, that we use to evaluate the work you did. For example, the learning journal. It's not easy to get a good score, okay? So make sure you study the rubrics, okay? And then format your journal in OIA, just like the example was given to you. Normally, I'll give a score for 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 means beginning, 2 means developing, 3 means accomplished, 4 means exemplary. Normally, this is a scale, okay? So it's not difficult to get a good score in online journal, and definitely you must include references, all right? And then for the specific forum discussion, it's even simpler, but you have to make sure you pay attention to the suggested guideline before. It's something like this. I will take a look at the detailed copy from your discussion forum. If there is no discussion detail at all, you come into this category and you will receive a score of 0 in this particular case. If there is some, but it's fully developed, got a 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and I'll give you 3 criteria to earn a score here. Group discussion posting, discussion responses to hosts and past students in the context of your peer is between you and your learning partner, evidence of critical thinking, applications, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, something like this. So pay attention to this particular rubric, because rubrics give you score, all right? And then that will be in the context of your report, okay? Besides following the format, it's important that you check the score based on this rubrics. We have 5 specific criteria, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And for each of these criteria, you've got a score 1, 2, 3, or 4. And if you want to target for a 4 score, you must accomplish the requirements stated here, okay? Normally, if you follow up with the advice given in the information literacy format, you've done the smoothing of your context, many students got very good score, okay? And if you take a look at the score distributions, the journal is just 4 points. The discussion forum is 12 points. The report is 20 points because it's based on this rubric. And the blog is again 20 points. And then the meeting minute is 4 points. And the proposal is 4 points. Okay, so the score indicate the progressions of details and refinement. Journal is the beginning 4 points. Discussion forum is beginning elaborate 12 points. The report 20 points, and then the blog 20 points, and the proposal 4 points, and the meeting minutes 4 points. So altogether, if I remember correctly, 64 points. Okay? 64 points is the full score, and then for the first learning contract, the semester point allocation is 10 points. So how many points out of 64 points, the raw total will determine how many points of 10 points we're going to earn from the first learning contract. Okay? So it's very important that you exercise a discipline in order to check the work you did. Principally speaking, is not that complicated. Okay? So do a good job, but do not just ignore the refinements there. Before you submit your work, give yourself a score based on the criteria here. This is a very important practice on helping you to understand called self-assessment. All right? So here are some guidelines for you to make sure that you understand the expectations. All right, so I think I'm going to stop here. It's 11:15, and I wish you a very good week. And then when we come back next week, that's the continuations of inquiry-based learning in the form of self-regulated learning, SRL. All right, so if you have a question, you can stay behind last week. If you don't, and you have to go to another classes, so feel free to do that. Okay. Okay, that's it for today's CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy on January 29, 2015. Okay, until next week, stay tuned.